Russia. Russia spent Christmas Day, the Russian military spent Christmas Day bombing the hell out of Ukraine, the power plants, cities, residential areas, all to do whatever they can to make life miserable for the Ukrainians. That was how the Russians spent Christmas. But in addition, not to be, that's not enough for Russia. Russia's actually decided to, or mistakenly or whatever, shoot down a civilian plane. They haven't done that. What was it? What was the last time they did that? You remember they shut down the plane over towards the border between Ukraine and Russia, and it was shot down in, I think it was 2015 or 2016. It was a Malaysia airplane flying from Europe to Malaysia, filled with people, packed. They shot the plane down. Everybody died. And how many Russians were prosecuted? Who went to jail for this? Did anybody get condemned? Did Trump go ballistic on Putin for doing this? No, nobody cared. Nobody cared, right? Anyway, so yesterday, the Russian air defense system downed an Azerbaijan plane. Again, civilian plane. We don't know, I don't have the final numbers of how many people were killed, but almost everybody on board was killed, including the crew. Some people survived. It turns out that the people in the tail part of the plane probably looks like survived. But not only was this a flight shot down by a Russian missile, it turns out that according to the Azeri government, this is Azerbaijan, the damaged aircraft, which was still flying, was not allowed to land in any Russian airport, despite the pilot's request for an emergency landing. It was ordered to fly across the Caspian Sea toward Aktu in Kazakhstan. According to data, the plane's GPS navigation system was jammed throughout the flight path above the sea, and therefore forced the Azeri plane to fly all the way to Kazakhstan and try to land, basically in an open field in Kazakhstan, and as a consequence, pilots dead, many of the passengers, at least 40 people are dead, I mean, what do you say? It's the pictures of the plane in flames, in fire. It's hard to believe anybody survived this. But the Russians just don't care. They don't care about human life. They have no problem shooting down planes. You remember the Korean plane that was shot down in the 1980s, I think it was? That was the Soviet Union back then. Now it's Russia. Doesn't matter. The world will do nothing. This is what I suggest to all of you who are listening. When picking a flight path in that part of the world, make sure the plane doesn't travel over Russia. So, for example, I recently flew from Helsinki to Hong Kong. If you look at a map, the quickest route from Helsinki to Hong Kong is to fly over Russia. I was so glad to see that my Finnair flight skirted around Russia, went through Eastern Europe, down through the Middle East, and ultimately over Kazakhstan and China. But it did not fly in Russian airspace. So I highly recommend that do not, if you can, ever take a flight over Russian airspace. You know, the odds are pretty small that they'll shoot you down, but 2 planes in 8 years, too much for me. Too big of odds for me. And you know, these are Russians. And then they won't let the plane make an emergency landing. They won't give the pilot and the civilians on board even a small chance of surviving, it's just terrific. It's just terrific. So, yeah, I mean, there are lots of reasons to be anti-Russia, anti-Putin, and anti this regime, and to hope for their demise. And they just keep reinforcing it. They keep reinforcing it.